Ibrahim Traore has made great progress since the military takeover that put him in Burkina Faso's presidency. Among other things, he has spoken out against Western influence and their bad intents in Burkina Faso and throughout Africa. He has promoted cooperation with Russia in order to aid in the nation's development. He said that the military junta had presented their plans to recover the nation's gold mines and guarantee just earnings to business owners and youth representatives during a meeting earlier in August. Consequently, in an effort to maximize earnings from the production of gold, the country recently announced a modification to its mining code. As per the revised mining legislation, gold production businesses are now required to pay Burkina Faso royalties of up to 7%. Compared to the former 5% royalty fee, which was set regardless of the state of the market, this represents a significant rise. The updated prices show a more adaptable and considerate strategy. For gold spot prices above $2,500 per ounce, the minimum royalty rate has been increased to 6%, a 1% increase from the prior rate. The royalty rate of 6.5% is another example of how market dynamics have been accommodated. This rate is in effect while spot gold prices are between $1,700 and $2,000 per ounce. The royalty rate is now 7%, a 2% increase over the previous rate, for the top tier of the gold market, where prices are more than $2,000 per ounce. On October 27th, a decree establishing the new charge on gold production was signed in order to enforce these modifications. Burkina Faso's dedication to maximizing the collection of royalties from its gold mining industry is highlighted by this program, which harmonizes the country's royalty structure with that of surrounding gold mining jurisdictions. Burkina Faso will be able to successfully manage external obstacles and market changes, thanks to this calculated strategic approach. The difficult conditions that Burkina Faso encountered in 2022 served as the impetus for these adjustments. According to official figures reported by Bloomberg News, the nation, which was one of Africa's top producers of gold, saw a significant 133% decrease in gold production, with an annual output of 58.2 tons. A number of factors have contributed to this reduction, including political upheaval following two nation-shaking coups and increased security concerns that resulted in the closure of at least 5 minas. Due to these difficulties, military leader Ibrahim Traore took over in September 2022, overthrowing the government of Colonel Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, a fellow soldier, who had taken over in January of the same year. According to Richard Hyde, chair of West African Resources, the rates are capped at 7% for gold prices over $2,000 per ounce, resulting in a modest increase of $6 to $8 per ounce in West African Resources 2023, all in sustaining cost, AISEC, at current gold prices. The business made it clear that it had not expected the increase in royalties to have a negative impact on the loan financing of its $7.7 million Ozi-Kiaka gold project in Burkina Faso. The funding of the project is contingent upon cautious estimates of gold prices within the $1,200 Ozi level for the duration of the loan, the business stated. Endeavour Mining, the biggest gold producer in Burkina Faso, declined to comment on the revised royalty rates. In the mining industry in Burkina Faso, there are other noteworthy participants such as IM Gold Corp and Nordgold. Stability provisions were the only restrictions on the state's mining operations prior to Ibrahim Traore becoming Burkina Faso's military leader. Royalties continued to be mainly unregulated, impacting both new and old mining contracts. Burkina Faso's government has changed its emphasis to actively create the country's economic destiny after realizing the necessity for adaptation. Before we go any further, if you think this video is interesting, kindly support us by giving it a like, sharing it, and becoming a channel subscriber. That being stated, let's move forward. It is important to remember that the nation, particularly the Southeast, is still dealing with an extremely unstable security environment as the junta in power faces an escalating Islamist insurgency. Ibrahim Traore has been working hard to take back areas that were taken over by extremist organizations. He makes an effort, but armed actors continue to strike. Aside from these difficulties, Burkina Faso faces additional hurdles because of the political instability brought on by the coups, which has led to the suspension of aid and financial help by major powers like the United States and France. The United States withdrew almost $160 million in aid to Burkina Faso on February 18, 2022, in the wake of the January coup that deposed Democratic President Roch Kabore. This decision was made in compliance with a U.S. foreign aid, with the exception of money intended to promote democracy, in nations where a military coup has toppled an elected head of state, or if the military plays a significant role in the coup. Furthermore, on January 31st, the U.S. government's Millennium Challenge Corporation, a foreign assistance agency, reported on its website that it had suspended its operations concerning a compact agreement that Burkina Faso had signed in August 2020 that provided $450 million in funding. These contracts usually last for 5 years, according to Reuters. Burkina Faso also received budgetary and development assistance from France, which was verified by the country's foreign ministry on August 7th. France immediately stopped providing Ouagadougou with $482,530,000 in development funds and $13 million in budget support for 2022. The official statement did not provide an explanation for the funding cut, but it did come at the same time that Burkina Faso and Mali, both ruled by the military, announced their strong support for the junta that had overthrown Niger's president, Mohamed Bazoum, in a coup in July. The two West African countries that border Niger saw any military action in that country to be a declaration of war, which goes against the position of the ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. The coup leaders were given a 7-day deadline by ECOWAS to restore Bazoum, failing which they would be forced to contemplate using force. Burkina Faso's Minister of State, Bassol Mabassi, further strained diplomatic ties when he disclosed at the 78th UN General Assembly that France had obstructed the country's acquisition of weapons. Bassier claimed that countries such as Brazil, the USA, Belgium, and Canada were preventing the country's hard-earned military hardware from being delivered. At France's instigation, he claimed, this move could make it more difficult for the government under Traoré to deal with the nation's security issues. It is important to remember that the democratic government's incapacity to put down an Islamist insurgency that has killed thousands of people and forced over 1 million people from their homes in West Africa was the main factor behind the military takeover. Aid suspension and military equipment supply disruptions may increase collusion. In light of security concerns, political unpredictability, and pressure from international powers, Burkina Faso's approach to economic stability has undergone a dramatic shift with the government's decision to modify its gold production policy. The purpose of the Mining Code Amendment is to improve tax collection and fiscal stability, which is important because it will affect how the country's economy develops. By taking this action, Burkina Faso can better adapt to the difficulties presented by the contemporary gold market and guarantee that its riches be used for the benefit of its citizens. What do you think about this royalty increase? Do you think it will assist Burkina Faso in overcoming the difficulties it is facing in the gold mining industry? What effect do you think these modifications will have on the future of the country's economy? Post your opinions in the space provided below. Thank you for observing. As soon as we upload a new video, please turn on notifications, like, share, and subscribe to the channel.